We got chapter 4 application problems. Look at number 2. We're having fun and our shoes are squeaky today. You guys know that song? Alright, here we go. We're doing some word problems with chapter 4. We're going to go over 5 of these 15 together. I think once we go over these 5, the rest, they're pretty similar, so they should feel pretty easy for you. First one we're going to do is number 2. Number 2 says, you deposit $1,500 in an account that pays 7.5% annual interest compounded continuously. What is the balance after 3.5 years? So very important, when you see the word continuously with the compound, you're going to use the PERT formula. So we have A equals PERT. Remember that P is your principal, it's the amount you put into the account. E is just a constant, it's at 2.71, blah, 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 blah. And then R is your rate, it's your percentage, times the time is the number of years. So if we are checking here, I see the $1,500, that's our initial amount. So that'll replace the P, then we got the E. The rate is 7.5%. In decimal form, that's 0.075. And we multiply it by the number of years, which in this case is 3.5. Now, you can do this in steps if you want. Most calculators can do this as it is. You just type in 1,500 times E. Well, you don't even need to do times E. 1,500 E to the power of 0.075 times 3.5. You could round in the nearest whole number if you want, if I don't specify. I'm going to round to the nearest dollars and cents, which I have it over here. 1950.26. $1,950.26. That's a 5. I can't write sixes today. It's Wednesday and sixes are tough. There we go. Great. That's not too bad, right? Compounded continuously, you use the PERT formula. Now look at number 3 next. This one has a bit of a curveball on it. The atmospheric pressure, P in pounds per square inch, of an object d miles, there's the curveball, above sea level can be modeled by P equals 14.7 e to the negative 20.21 d power. How much pressure per square inch would you experience at the summit of Mount Washington, 6,288 feet above sea level? So there is the issue, right? The formula says we're using d miles, but they didn't tell us how many miles, they told us how many feet. So we're going to need to convert that into miles. Easiest way to do it is to just divide by however many feet are in a mile. You probably don't remember that, but it's 5,280. So we're going to do 6,288 divided by 5,280. And now this will give us a long decimal, but we're just going to round it to 1.19. So 1.19 miles. That's the number we're going to be substituting in for D here. So we have the pressure equals 14.7 E, and the exponent's going to be negative 0.21 times our distance in miles, 1.19. Type this into your calculator, exactly how it is. And if we were to round this one, we'd get around 11.45. So 11.45, and we're talking pounds per square inch. Pounds per square inch. That was wild, man. That was pretty tough. I'll give you that. All right, let's see what else we got. I think number 8 is next. From 2000 to 2010, a city had a 2.5% annual decrease in population. If the city had 2,950,000 people in 2000, determine the city's population in 2008. So I think it's going to be good practice to set up the general formula for this situation. So A of t equals A sub 0 is like our starting amount, which our starting amount of people here is that 2,950,000. Whoops. Now remember, in the parentheses, and it'll be to the t power, we're starting at like 100%, and we either add or subtract from that 100%, and then we convert it into a decimal. Now this is saying it's decreasing 2.5%. So if I was to subtract 100% minus 2.5%, that gives us 97.5%. But we use the decimal version of that, which would be 0.975. So there would be the general formula, and you could just plug in the number of years that you want for t. Now we have to figure out how many years are we talking about. It's asking about the year 2008. So how many years have passed? Well, from 2000 to 2008, that's 8 years. So we're going to try a of 8 equals 2,950,000 times 0.975 to the 8th power. You put that in your calculator. Now this one we would round to the nearest whole person. So what's this one come out to? 2,409,123 people. Nice thing about these word problems is if you set them up properly, the calculator does all the work for you. It's pretty fun. All right, next we're going to number 11. There it is. A newly hatched channel catfish typically weighs about 0.06 gram. During the first 6 weeks of life, its weight increases by about 10% each day. Write a function to model this situation. How much does the catfish weigh after 6 weeks? So again, if we're doing general formula here, just like the one we did, a of t equals our starting amount. Our starting weight was this 0.06 grams. If we're thinking 100% and it's increasing 10% each day, we would obviously do 100% plus 10%, which would give us 110%. Now, in decimal form, you move the decimal 2 places, so it would be 1.10 or just 1.1. There's the general formula. Now we need to figure out what are we putting in for t. Now, it said they grow 10% each day, days, but then it says how much do they weigh after 6 weeks? So, we have to convert to the same unit. We're going to convert them into days. So how many days are 6 weeks? Well, you could just do 6 weeks times 7 days, and it gives you 42 days total. So we're going to say a of 42 equals 0.06 times 1.1 to the 42nd power. Again, you put it in your calculator. It does the work for you. And we get 3.286 grams. 3.286 grams. Unbelievable. The last one we're going to do together is number 15. Because again, it's got just a little curveball at the end. That's it. If $5,000 is compounded quarterly at 5.5% for 12 years, what's the total interest, money made, received at the end of that time? So it didn't say compounded continuously, it said compounded quarterly. So we have to use the formula where it's balance equals principal times 1 plus your rate divided by the number of times it's compounded, and then the exponent is that number of times it's compounded times the time. So let's substitute in what they tell us here. The balance would be our principal, our initial amount is $5,000. We have 1 plus the rate is 5.5% in decimal form. That would be 0.055 divided by the number of times it's compounded. It says quarterly, that's 4 times. That same number comes up here and gets multiplied by the time, and they said 12 years. Many calculators, you can just put this in, it does it for you. If not, you would want to do division first. Whatever that decimal is, add 1 to it. Whatever that is, take it to the 48th power, that's 4 times 12. you'll get a real sloppy decimal, and then you'd multiply by 5,000 at the end. But the calculator, my calculator does it, and I bet yours does too. It comes out to a balance of 9630.56. 9630.56. That's their balance. Now it's not asking us what the balance is. It's saying how much interest did we make? How much free money was put in this account after we put in our $5,000? So if we take out the $5,000 that we put in, that was our initial investment. That will leave us with how much money we made in interest. So 9 minus 5 is 4. So it'd be $4,630.56 in interest. Fantastic. We're all done and we're having fun. We're learning math today.